An emergency room is supposed to be the safest place on Earth, a sanctuary designed to save lives. People come here in their most desperate moments, trusting that science and medicine will protect them. But on the night of February 19, 1994, the emergency room at Riverside General Hospital in California transformed into the epicenter of a deadly nightmare that modern medicine still struggles to explain. The patient who was rushed through the doors wasn't just dying. Without realizing it, she was taking everyone in the room down with her. What was lurking in the blood of Gloria Ramirez, the patient who would forever be known to medical history as the Toxic Lady? Gloria Ramirez was a 31-year-old mother of two, deeply loved by her community. But that night, she was fighting the hardest battle of her life. She had been diagnosed with advanced cervical cancer, and the disease was in its final stages. It was around 8:15 p.m. Gloria suddenly collapsed at her home. She couldn't breathe. Her consciousness was clouded, and her heart was racing uncontrollably. When the ambulance rushed her to the hospital with sirens blaring, the medical teams thought they were dealing with a routine cardiac arrest case. But they were gravely mistaken. Gloria was taken into Trauma Room 1. The medical staff immediately began injecting drugs and using a defibrillator to slow her heart rate. But in that moment, a series of disturbing anomalies began to unfold. When the nurses cut away Gloria's clothes, they noticed her body was covered in a strange, oily and shiny sheen. Immediately after, a heavy, toxic odor, resembling a mixture of rotting garlic and ammonia, filled the room, burning their throats. As respiratory therapists tried to locate the source of the smell, the true horror was hiding inside her veins. Registered nurse Susan Kane drew a syringe of blood from Gloria's arm for routine blood gas analysis. But the blood filling the vial did not look like normal human blood. Floating within it were strange, pale yellow crystals. Nurse Kane handed this abnormal vial to medical resident Dr. Julie Goczynski. In that brief moment when the doctor leaned in to look at the tube, everything spiraled out of control. Nurse Kane stated she felt a horrific burning sensation on her face, and seconds later, she lost consciousness and collapsed. They carried her out of the room. But this was just the first domino to fall. Dr. Goczynski experienced severe dizziness, and the moment she stepped out of the room, she collapsed, her entire body shaking in severe muscle spasms. Soon after, respiratory therapist Maureen Welch also fainted. Within mere minutes, the doctors and nurses in the room were losing consciousness one by one, gasping for air. An unprecedented internal emergency was declared at the Riverside Hospital emergency room. Believing there was a toxic gas leak inside, the hospital staff made the decision to completely evacuate the emergency room. Patients were moved in wheelchairs and on stretchers out into the cold February night, into the hospital parking lot. Treatments and interventions continued under the streetlights, right on the asphalt. That night at 8:50 p.m., Gloria Ramirez passed away on the trauma table. But the devastation she left behind was massive. Of the 23 medical workers exposed to her, 5 were hospitalized. Even performing an autopsy on Gloria's body was an operation in itself. Pathologists set up a special room with custom ventilation systems and wore thick, fully enclosed hazmat suits. But days of investigations hit a dead end. There was no toxic gas leak to be found. Consequently, the California Department of Health dismissed the incident as mass hysteria. According to them, what the medical staff experienced was merely a collective psychological panic in the emergency room environment. But this explanation infuriated the medical staff. Because Dr. Goczynski had spent weeks in the ICU, The bones in her knees had begun to decay, and her liver was on the verge of failure. No psychological panic could melt human bones. The secrets slowly began to unravel. Scientists proposed a terrifying, flawless theory that would go down in history. It was believed that Gloria had been using a homemade pain relief cream called DMSO. This explained the strange oily sheen on her body and the garlic odor. The scientific chain of death worked like this. The high doses of pure oxygen given in the ambulance oxidized this cream, converting it into DMSO2. Those pale yellow crystals floating in her blood were exactly that. Then, the electrical shocks administered in the emergency room triggered one final, fatal reaction, transforming the compound into dimethyl sulfate. Dimethyl sulfate is an extremely toxic gas used as a chemical weapon in World War I, capable of poisoning humans in seconds. Gloria's veins had unwittingly become a biological weapon laboratory. This theory divided the scientific community. Gloria's family argued that she never used such a cream. According to them, the real culprit was a toxic gas leaking from the hospital's ventilation system, and the administration blamed a dead woman to escape millions of dollars in lawsuits. The most bizarre part of it all was that the initial blood vial, the very evidence that could have solved the case, mysteriously disappeared. Whatever the truth may be, Gloria Ramirez's body was buried in a hermetically sealed casket to prevent any contamination. Did a 1 in a billion scientific anomaly truly occur that night? Or did we witness one of the most ruthless cover-ups in medical history? The answer to that lies inside that sealed casket with Gloria. You decide.